Hey everyone, this is Bad5. I'm going to try to do an old-fashioned video where I'm not going to do all this editing and shit because this kind of video I don't think requires it. So, I got a few comments from people like, oh, you should try to, try to respond to Spinosauruskin, and oh, he destroyed all of your shit in this video. So, there's a user by the name of Spinosauruskin, and he's an MRA type, and he did a response against me. Now, this is like the fourth time I've tried to do this video. The first time I was way too angry. The second time I was pretty reasoned, but it was going to take entirely too long. And the third time it was like this, but I wasn't happy with the results. So this is it. This is it right here. This is it. So, anyhow. So Spinosauruskin did this video, and I went to his channel to check out some of the stuff, and he has in his channel description that people should send him anti-MRA videos and he'll respond. So the one he did against me, I believe, is entitled Strawman's Rights Activist, part 12 or 13. I'm more inclined to say 12 on that, but I could be wrong. So anyhow, I watched it, and I'm going to be brutally honest here. In that video, he is strawmanning me a lot. A lot. And I'm just going to bring up a few examples. Number one, he took some real exception to me saying things like, because he did basically respond to my entire video, but I said something like, if you say something like, women, do this, but, it's kind of like when racists say, I'm not racist, but, and he took exception to this. He had said, well, what if they're misanthropes or something like this? Which I don't know if, because this could be a cultural difference here. I don't know if, like, racists are different here in America than they are in the UK, because he is from the UK. But generally speaking, people in this country do not say, black people suck, and here's why, but white people suck. They don't generally say things like this. I don't think in my entire life I've heard someone put that kind of qualifier on it, where it's like, well, white people are fucked up. Or whatever group, but this group, no. I mean, if you're a misanthrope, I don't like people. I generally just do not like people. So, as a result, I just say people suck. I don't say, like, okay, well, this group sucks for this reason, or this group sucks for this reason. I just say people suck. If it's a black person that I don't like, I just say I don't like them. Not because they're black, because I just don't like them. There have been a few, but then again, when I was growing up, a lot of my friends were black. A lot of the white kids just thought they were too good for everyone, and the black kids were very, at least, I would say like 90% of the time, they were very respectful, they're very polite, and a lot of times their parents were just good people. Even if they didn't have much, they tried to raise their kids right, and a lot of the white parents were just fucked up. But anyhow, so that, it's like, I'm sorry, but I don't really hear a lot of misanthropes, targeting, like, this group. This is why this group right here sucks. At least, like, when it comes to things like skin color, because race is just a man-made construct, which I know some people are going to say, oh, no, it's real. No, it's not, okay? Whatever. So, another thing, he had said that, because he's like, you're the type of person who probably thinks this, which all this shit, it's shit that I don't believe. Or if I believe it, there's a reason for it, but he said that he would imagine that I would be in support of, like, bring the girls home, which, again, this could be a cultural thing here. I've never heard of that. I'm assuming, and I'm just going to, take his word for it, that this actually does exist, but I'm going to assume from the name that it's bring female soldiers back home. Now, I'm against war unless it's absolutely necessary. There are a few situations where war was absolutely necessary. I think the last war that was absolutely necessary in basically the world's history. Well, I shouldn't say the world's history. At least in American history, and even British history, I would say, is World War II. Because, the British were getting attacked by the Germans, because they weren't big on Nazism, because, the British are, they're not stupid, so, and then America, Germany declared war on us. They didn't attack us, we didn't attack them, they declare war on us. So, okay, boom, there you go, that's an actual war that should have been fought, and to try to end dictatorships that are like that obviously we haven't ended dictatorships, but, they're not as prevalent as they once were, but anyhow. So, no, like, I would not be for that. I've had friends that have died in Iraq. In fact, the first presidential election I could vote in was 2004, and I voted against George Bush, not only because he was an absolute fuck-up, but because of things like the war. And I think John Kerry would have done a better job, but he didn't win, so it's unfalsifiable. To say he would have, I think he would have. But anyhow, so straw man right there. Now, also, I had brought up in my video, and he responded to this, saying people like Pinegrove 33, because my first, like, foray into, like, the whole MRA thing was when I did my video against Pinegrove 33, and I got a bunch of people commenting, call me mangina and shit like this, and I was like, what? I just responded to his political shit. I just happened to see one of his videos, and I responded to it. And now Spinosauruskin said that he did, like, now he says that, basically, Pinegrove 33 or Bernard Chapin, he is a clown, which, of course, I agree with. And he said, and when I did my video against him, it was almost universally positive, like the response he got from MRAs. Now, I'm going to take exception to this because now, in fairness, I should have looked at this a bit closer, but I didn't. In fairness, this could have been like after he had done the response to me, but I saw some comments that were not like favorable towards his position or his complaints against Pinegrove 33, and then also there was a thumbs down, which brings me to something. Some people are going to say, it was probably you. I assure you, it was not me. It was not me. I actually went to that video, and I watched it, and I found myself quite enjoying it. I thought it was a very good video. I was like, wow. I mean, now Pinegrove 33. I think he brought up a couple of good points, and I'm going to touch on this really quickly. He said that Paul Elam is basically a loser. Like fuck him, which I had said in another MRA video. That's that's progress. I think that's cool that, a lot of MRAs are just saying, fuck him. He's an idiot. The guy, he doesn't work, but he wants you guys to pay him. He wants people to pay him, so he has, like, this lifestyle, which is like, okay, it's kind of like alimony, but he ran the website, was that A Voice for Men? Even though there was that one article that was saying, like, oh, Emma Watson, like, what she was saying was actually good. Like, we shouldn't just be concentrating on women's rights, we should be concentrating on men's rights as well. And, people, oh, fuck this guy, fuck him. And, Paul Elam, got on there. And, of course, oh, I just assume, oh, shut the fuck up. You don't have a job. Your job is this website. But apparently that slipped through the cracks. But anyway, on Spinosaurus' video, I actually put a comment, like, on the Pinegrove 33 video, I should say. Like, I know you've had a go at me, and I believe these are my exact words. Expect a response soon. But this is actually a really good video. And we started talking back and forth, and after, like, looking at his channel a bit, I'm like, okay, you know what, me and this guy, we see eye to eye on quite a few things. And, in fact, on the video against me, I believe it's Bane AU666, he said, in fairness, this guy has kind of, like, eased up on the stuff, and I wouldn't say that, it's like, I'm still, like, against the MRA, or the MRM, but I think I've clarified my position a bit more, and that's why I was pretty much satisfied with my last video, and some people are going to say, well, I thought you were done. This isn't really an MRA video, I'm just going to be addressing some things. So, the thing is, I think with Spinosaurus here, he is a feminist by definition, just like me. I am not an extreme feminist. In fact, I've complained about the extremist feminists, and I've gotten into it with a couple of them, and I actually had a recent fucking thing with some feminists that, it pisses me off, because, it's like, well, women can do this, but men can't, but anyhow, so, and the thing is, I understand the negative connotations that are associated with the word feminist. I understand why people would be, opposed to actually accepting that label. Coughlin actually did a video. It's like a 5-hour long video. I think it's like, I forget what it was called, but it was very good. But one thing he was talking about in the video, because it was a Google Hangout that was just recorded, he said that the reason why some people, they don't label themselves atheists, they call themselves agnostic, is because of the negative connotations that are attached to words like atheist. People are going to think of people like Sam Harris or Christopher Hitchens or Richard Dawkins, and they don't want to be associated with that type of attitude, that kind of like hubris, and that like just overall arrogance. They don't want to be attached to that, so they just want to make people just shut the fuck up, like, I'm an agnostic, boom, that's it. And they just went in. He also brought up, and I've never heard of this, but, I wouldn't be shocked if this had actually happened. Like, someone said, I don't eat meat, but I'm not a vegetarian. And that might happen. Like, me, I am a vegetarian, and I just say, I don't force my beliefs on anyone. I've never done that, unless they really want to try me, and they really want to push that shit, like, oh, meat is so great, then I'll fucking give them more than they bargained for, because that's what I typically do in real life. I won't push it, unless you do. So anyhow, yeah, I mean, I really think that this guy, he is a feminist. And he even said, like, he's happy to call himself an MRA, to which I say that's fine. And I mean, the guy defends his position, and I don't agree with him 100%, and I do not expect to, because he is a human being and he's an individual, so obviously he's going to have some experiences or some opinions that I'm not going to agree with. And that's what happens. Now, some people are going to say, well, what, are you becoming one now? To which I say, no, I am not. Not at all. And in fact, I've even said this in the past. I've actually engaged with some MRAs that have just come on, like, very respectful, like, here's why I think you're wrong. Now, the ones who do attack me, in fairness to them, maybe, like, I kind of deserve that, the attack, because I came on pretty angry with a lot of this stuff. So, maybe, like, they're not in the wrong for being angry towards me. But I've had a few MRAs that came on, like, here's why I think you're wrong. If you look at this or that, and then they're going to show me respect. I'm going to show them respect. That's just the way it goes. And now sometimes I'm kind of guilty of not doing that. I think it's happened a couple of times, and a lot of times I have apologized. Okay, that's my fault. So yeah, I'm really sorry. In fact, I am the type, like, if I'm in the wrong, I really try to apologize, and if they don't accept it, then I feel really bad about myself, because I don't like to do bad things. So anyhow, so yes, Spinosauruskin, if you guys want to check out his video against me, want to see him having a go against me, go ahead. I don't think he did a terrible job. Like I said, there are a lot of strawman arguments, so be prepared for that. But, he even told me, like, the more he checked out my channel, the more it's like, we're cool. Like, and in fact, I think he and I we're kind of cool with each other. He subscribed to me, I subscribed to him. In fact, it's weird that, like, right after I left that comment on his Pine Grove 33 video, that, it was actually a really good video. He subscribed to me. So I'm like, wow, that's cool. Like, maybe, if there is something that happens, he and we could just have, like, a little bit of a dialogue. And, we could just have a discussion, because I've said this in the past, I don't like to debate people. I would rather just talk. Rather just, say, like, well, what is your opinion on this? Or if they say to me, like, well, why do you think this when you can look at this? So, and I think that's cool. Maybe it's just because I've gotten older. Ever since I've turned 30, I've just felt like, a lot of this stuff is just, there's no reason to get that mad about it, because people are going to believe shit that you don't like. And if you just point out to them how they're wrong, or how, in your opinion, they're wrong, then, just go on from there. You don't have to, like, scream at them anymore. And no, this isn't me saying, like, oh, I'm softening a bit. So don't expect angry videos. If something makes me angry, I'm gonna fucking say it. So anyhow. So, yeah. All of that. God, I'm so glad I'm done with this. So, I think I'm pretty happy with this cut of the video. So, anyway, this is Madden 5, and I have at least one other video planned, hopefully, here shortly. So, anyway, you guys have a good one.